Yep. Finally, we get action.
Oh, we get some action.
Episode 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Prison Break, huh? Prison Break.
Yeah. So
yeah.
wonder what
It was a pretty good episode. So we got what we wanted with the Prison Break episode. I knew that was gonna happen.
Yep,
that was what we were suspecting.
Yeah, we kind of knew that was going to happen. But what happens to Kino now?
What?
Where can they go? They can't go anywhere.
Where can they go?
They could swim their way back to some sort of mainland, I guess.
Well, it seems like they already swam their way to the mainland.
I assume that's the only way for them to escape to the nearest piece of land.
Yeah.
And just take it
I remember watching the episode when he was flown out to there, and it just looked like it was in the middle of the ocean.
Oh,
it was very Alcatraz-like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or it's practically the Star Wars version of the raft in Marvel.
Yeah.
Because the raft is actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it reminds me of the raft as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of, and that
even
raft.
The shape of it.
They said that the raft was not able to be escaped from.
Yeah.
The raft has been escaped from in Marvel already, so it's definitely not.
Yeah, well, okay, by superhumans, not by ordinary humans.
Yeah.
True.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And certainly not by someone who can't swim.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, yeah. He just realized, how is he gonna escape?
Or Kino, yeah.
Yeah, Kino Loy. Like, how is he gonna escape? He can't swim. It was something that I probably didn't think about when they were escaping. It's like, where is he? How is he gonna escape? But,
probably didn't know that it's in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may not even know where they are. Do they know where they are?
Because I don't know if they were just blindfolded when they were being transported, so that they wouldn't know exactly where they were.
Like, they're probably just they're probably in enclosed helicopters when they were flying out of that. Because remember when you saw that guy being taken there, it looked as if they were kind of like conical on the inside. Yeah.
When did they say that he can't swim? Is it right?
So when all the others were jumping off to swim, he was the only
one guy got pushed off, and then another guy jumped off.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Turned around, and the old guy said, "Oh yeah, I can't swim."
Oh, I can't swim now.
Oh wow! I just looked up the raft. It actually does look so similar.
Pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually inspired by something else. Where was oh yeah, it says there was George Lucas Easter egg inspired the prison.
Okay.
Oh, I guess it's more the whole prison with the floors that are electric.
Electrified floors, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Anyway, yeah. Nakina 5. I'll look at it later.
But finally, we got a lot of action in this one, so it was pretty much action packed from start to finish. This episode, it's really great.
Yeah,
to finally see that build up, payoff. It was finally a payoff.
Yeah, and it was 2 episodes.
Yeah, 2 more episodes left.
So it was great to finally first of all, get Kino on board and just get him. Really getting. I think he was really key to galvanizing all the other prisoners into getting.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you the raft,
Yeah.
It looks so similar.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also powered by like hydroelectric likely as
Hydropower.
well.
Yeah.
Oh, the Easter egg is the prison, because George Lucas did a film called THX 1138,
Okay.
and so this prison feel was supposed to evoke
Okay.
that sort of antiseptic, claustrophobic atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
all white,
It's very sort of like a cold kind of
cold, cold.
atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. They probably all shared similar ideas.
Mm.
Yeah. Very, very kind of like sterile,
Sterile.
almost,
Yeah.
almost like a hospital.
Hospital, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it was really great to see, like how, again, that's part of, Cassian's character, really. It just tells you a lot about what his character is like, and why Luthen wanted to recruit him as part of the
Yeah.
rebellion.
Yeah.
He has an innate rebellious character. So who better to join the rebellion than someone who already has that as part of his personality and his character? If it
Yeah.
wasn't
And he's also
let people-
convincing as well to bring
Yeah.
people over.
Yeah, and his ability to win over someone like Kino, he couldn't have pulled this off without him. So, his ability to basically convince people to get on board with like even some sort of outlandish plan, like this prison break, which actually worked as well. That's definitely
Yeah.
an asset. Yeah.
There was a few times when I was thinking, this isn't going to work.
Mm.
Yeah. They're taking too long. There's too many guards. There's too many things that are going to go wrong. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that
Es-
could have gone wrong. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't the perfect plan.
Especially,
But essentially looking
especially,
through it,
with
it
the-
does actually look like they didn't have many guards at all.
Mm.
And again, they did pick a day where the guard level was at its lowest.
Yeah.
True.
the biggest flaw was the electrified floor.
Yes.
That was always going to be the difficulty. That's why it was really important that they cut off the power.
Yeah.
That was the key thing, is to sort of get to that level. That's why he and Kino.
I just used a pun.
Mm.
Their biggest flaw was the electrified floor.
The biggest flaw was the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, but essentially the floor was what actually kept them in place as well before.
Yeah.
But since it was filled with water, it actually had a double effect that it actually broke their own system.
That was smart of him.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
the
the
water was
water.
going to mess up the electronics, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the floor was already electrified generally to keep them in their cells. The water just broke that system.
Yeah.
The shape.
For a while.
The shapes someone mentioned just now, it's actually in the shape of the
Oh yeah, the Imperial logo.
Imperial logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like it.
Yeah, it's a prison one where every person has been assigned their place and they're kept under control by fear, right? So that's the logo. That's the Imperial logo. Hope of change, hope of escape is nothing more than an illusion.
But they escaped.
But they did, yeah. So what signal does that send, right? Said they escaped from the Imperial logo. Yeah.
I don't know how Cassian knew which panel to open to
He just
start
opened
attacking.
everyone.
I think he just opened every single one that he came across.
He probably just opened every single one.
Yeah.
And once he opens one, he could open everything else.
Yeah.
It's probably quite obvious.
It was pretty random that he just happened to be busting
Hmm.
that precise pipe, which couldn't be overridden.
Mm.
It's a TV show. It cannot be always like accurate to like real life scenarios.
But it kind of reminds me of remember when he and Jin Erso were trying to look for the plans and they weren't quite sure how to find it, when they
You
got to
managed,
that part,
you managed a TV show.
but he
It's
managed
not
to find
real.
it eventually. But yeah, that's kind of part of his character as well, that he won't have everything perfect, but he's
But
still
he,
gonna go for
but he
it.
figured it out in the end.
He'll figure it out as he goes.
Yeah,
And he
Mm.
has that sort of innate resourcefulness about him as well.
yeah, he does. He
Yeah.
does.
Like whenever the
It's-
situation is, he'll just adapt, and that's part of his gift, really. Because
Yeah, like
you understand-
going back
yeah,
to when the treasury theft.
yeah, Aldani.
We all thought that it was just going to blow up
Yeah,
in
that wasn't gonna work.
in their faces,
Hmm.
and it basically did. But he just adapted,
Yeah,
and
managed to pull it off.
everything went well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's thanks to him because he's the one who's actually he can think really fast on his feet.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
really one of his gifts. And like I can understand why Luthen would want somebody like that, obviously as part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
They need people like that, to make these missions successful. And he's pulled off 2 successful ones. The robbery in Aldani, and now this prison break.
Well, Luthen definitely put a lot on the line for his as well. Like right at the end, like the whole talking to the guy who has a family now. It's like, how much did Luthen actually give up? Like, practically everything.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely chose to give up a lot in order to rebel against the Empire, and he's put spies and double agents everywhere, to infiltrate the Empire. Yeah.
And to think that he actually dressed similar to like Palpatine.
Yes, that's a theory, huh? I don't know what that means.
Well, he's kind of like the polar opposite of Palpatine because Palpatine still exists.
Yeah. So there is something of Palpatine in him in terms of the ruthlessness.
In terms of the way he looks as well. Yeah.
Well, he does seem to be ruthless for the rebellion, but of course, we can see that he's definitely not Imperial.
For sure. I think that maybe he and Palpatine have some personal history. We don't know. They personally may have had something like in the past where they knew each other, and now why he's so against him.
Yeah. There's a possibility of a relationship there somehow. It might not be a blood relationship as people have been speculating. Because one is Palpatine raised on Naboo, and Luthen, we don't really know his backstory.
Yeah. So he's still a bit of a mystery. He's pretending to be this antiques dealer.
Unless they pull another Palpatine trick on us saying that Luthen is a Palpatine.
No, I think I don't know. I think it's more symbolic.
Yeah. But they did that with Rey Skywalker. Who's actually a Palpatine.
Well, they did, but that's because of fan pressure, That's different. This one, I know that they are taking their time to
This is a
figure that one
more
out.
well thought out story.
well thought out,
Yeah.
But
they're not just gonna put something there for the sake of it,
But I highly doubt that theory. Anyway.
Yeah, it is a theory. Yeah.
But yeah, it would be interesting to know a little bit more about Luthen, and his backstory and who he really is.
But for him to dress up similar to Palpatine and the whole like cloak get up. I mean, he doesn't have the whole hood on like Palpatine, but still it strikes a similar resemblance.
Yeah, it's quite striking. Yeah.
The upcoming
but I also doubt that he'll just pull out a lightsaber at some point.
Yeah, I don't think this show has lightsabers, to be honest. It
No,
won't have lightsabers.
Yeah.
that's not really the emphasis here. You know,
Yeah.
it's really more just
Yeah.
other characters in the rebellion.
Yeah. It's actually not likely that he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like trying to convince the guy in the lift to like stay with the rebellion.
Yeah.
Now, the upcoming arranged marriage, or
Oh, the arranged marriage.
the
So
one
we're talking about like what Mon Mothma, you know, when she agreed to have, what was his name? I'm trying to remember his name. Was it Evan something?
Yeah, they keep introducing new characters. That's hard to remember the
It's hard
names.
to remember the name, but he obviously Takoma introduced him, but didn't really necessarily know what he was gonna ask for. He assumed it was gonna be money. But and that's what Mon Mothma probably assumed as well. You know, oh, I'm gonna get a cut of this sort of, you know, he's gonna get a percentage of the transactions, that sort of thing, which isn't like a normal thing, like a commission. Considering he's a businessman, but it totally took them by surprise that he was essentially asking for her daughter to marry his son. You know, that's
way. There's absolutely no way that she will go along with it.
yeah.
I mean,
she was pretty shocked.
she's like so headstrong and like so rebellious against the parents, any authority. There's no way she's gonna go along with it.
I mean, unless she takes a genuine liking to his son, it's probably not gonna happen, you know. Like,
but still not likely.
Yeah.
Well,
Mon Mothma is against it, first of all, but she may not have a choice in terms of if she wants to keep going.
What we've seen of her so far, she has no friends. She basically hates the world.
And you know, the thing is, you know, with the Empire sort of closing in on and you know, having their surveillance sort of measures being more restrictive and oppressive.
Yeah,
it's going to be very hard to, you know, hide money going back and forth, even if it's their own money. That the fact that they can't just move their own money around seems ridiculous to me. Like, you know, but you know, when you think about it, yeah, that's just the Empire sort of trying to restrict, again, trying to control people.
This is so one of the Easter eggs is this one, the share of the logo, and then this is this shape, right?
Yeah, it does look like it. When I looked at it, I just said, "What? How does it look kind of like Palpatine?"
Well, I think this is saying it actually looks a bit like Darth Vader. If you just look at the silhouette.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think it's kind
of essentially anyone in a cloak.
Yeah, it's kind of fitting because of what he says as well, that he has to use the weapons of his enemy to defeat them. It's kind of that's the imagery that kind of suits his own words.
The big broad shoulders, you know, the height, and just all black hair.
Yeah, that's an interesting image.
And darkness surrounding him, kind of thing. Yeah.
So his speech apparently foreshadows Rogue One. Talk about
he talks about hope.
Yeah, hope and all that stuff. So build on hope instead of fear. So which is like that line in Rogue One. So yeah, so more subtle sort of references.
Yeah,
the longing for the dawn. And even the colors hint at the coming rebellion. Colors of the rebellion.
Their uniforms.
The uniforms. Correct. Yeah, I mean,
because
that's
it's
interesting.
quite
It
orange.
reminds me of the pilot's uniforms, the X-wing pilot uniforms.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite orange, those ones, yeah.
So it's like that's where the colors come from the prison.
Yeah.
How they escape imperial tyranny.
It's the same orange that Luke wears. You know.
Yeah. So this
flying.
is in fact the birth of the rebellion, right? In that sense.
That's true. Like, I think the colors kind of inspired their own.
There's a main thing about the first guy that gets pushed off, like who it possibly was. No,
probably.
Sorry, what?
We didn't really know.
We don't know.
Well, he was pushed off, but was it him?
Yeah. So the fate. Not sure if we'll see him again.
Well, they gave him a name, so probably.
Yeah, probably. Although the end of the episode is simply Cassian and Melshi. Melshi is actually a key rebel from Rogue One, so it's appropriate that we are gonna.
So they ran off together. This is like how they met. You know,
this is how they met.
Yeah, almost like an origin story for Melshi as well. And
but they say what happens to Kino since he's left behind.
Yeah, so the fate of Kino, not quite sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as you say, we'll see him again. He's got a name now.
Yeah.
Kino.
Maybe we'll see in the next episode what happens to him.
Yeah. Especially if he's the only one left on the station. And the Imperials are still locked themselves in
they've had
one of the rooms.
Yes, come on! Andy Serkis Kino deserves a better fate than that. So we'll see. We don't know.
Well, yeah. We'll see what happens though.
Got pushed off. There's slight hope. Who knows? I don't know.
Yep. But I guess Andy Serkis is the only character at the moment who has played 2 roles in Star Wars.
2 different ones, yeah.
2 different roles.
I would argue that this role is actually a more important role.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in a sense that he's actually key. Without him, there would be no rebellion.
Yeah. He's mainly responsible for this prison break.
Yeah, that was a good speech for Kino.
Yeah. I mean, I know Cassian Andor sort of talked him into it because he was against it at first, but once he was on board, it was all goes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he effectively inspired 5,000 men, right? 5,000.
Yeah. Because Andor was saying, you know, they're not going to listen to me. They don't know me, you know, but they know him and they respect him. He is, you know, someone who has that authority that the prisoners, you know, kind of look up to because, yeah, he's
and and interestingly, the whole one way out, in terms of speculation, is similar to the First Order because they're both one. That's another speculation, not confirmed yet, but that's another speculation that Kino becomes the guy that we know later.
Oh, okay.
Not confirmed, of course, but it's a rumor.
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Wasn't the raft surrounded by man-eating sharks?
What?
We're talking about the Marvel raft? No?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm not sure what it's surrounded by. I thought it was just water.
There's no sharks, right?
No, the man-eating sharks was the other ridiculous show. It wasn't Marvel.
That was one of the extra. Maybe I'm just imagining things.
It could be a different show or a movie you watched, but not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just wrong.
Yeah,
Just
it wasn't Marvel one. But
this was a really great episode, action packed.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, with someone who can't swim, with them actually drowning, they will only drown when they start panicking in the water. Because all you basically need to do is relax and keep air in your lungs. If you just lay back, there's enough air in your lungs to stay buoyant. Start panicking, start breathing in water, and yeah.
Well, that was if it was normal, but of course they were panicking in the situation. So of course she would be panicking.
It would be hard not to, because they were trying to escape, and all the excitement, everything.
And as well, on the face of Andy Serkis, you could see the fear. He didn't want to go.
All right. I think
should we give our scores?
That's Steph. Yeah, I think you were saying it's really good, so you can go.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's an 8. It's definitely an 8 for me. I really enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I love all the build up from the previous episodes has finally paid off.
Yep.
And we finally got to see that prison break that we've sort of been anticipating. And yeah, it's wonderful to finally see that happen. And great to see another successful mission from Andor.
Yeah, that's right. So he's had 2 successful missions so far.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Well, this wasn't exactly a mission.
Yeah, this was a well, the first one was a heist. This is sort of like
I'd say it was a mission because it was basically forced upon him.
Yeah, it's forced upon him, correct?
It was more of a personal mission. Yeah, more of a personal mission. It wasn't assigned to him.
Yeah.
But still, I think that it really shows how suited he is really to be a key member of the
rebellion.
Yeah, it really shows you how he was able to pull off with Jyn Erso, stealing his plans in Rogue One. That's how he got so good, and he's really quite fearless when you think about it. And people need that in the rebellion, because you contrast him, I guess, with someone like say Lonnie, someone who has been there for like a long time.
I know, yeah,
sort of biding his time, living a double life, and he's now sort of in panic mode because he's like, I can't keep this up any longer, sort of thing. Whereas someone like Andor, just he would be relentless, you know what I mean? Like he has that sense of, I'm not giving up. He has that lack of fear, I think, that is key to pulling off what the rebellion requires, so I think, it's interesting really to find out that Lonnie has been working for the rebellion this whole time, and we had no idea. That was just a big twist at the end as well. Interesting twist, which I liked about this episode, sort of really finding out. It's like, oh, that's how deep Luthen has planted all these kind of spies. You had Vel, who was Mon Mothma's cousin, is also involved. A surprise, sort of relationship from the previous episode that we didn't know about. So very interesting to see, how far he is able to infiltrate the Empire. And that's how the rebellion became successful. It's like they had so many people everywhere.
All right, so 8 from Steph. Bill.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it last week. I wasn't really paying much attention. I was really tired last week, and when yeah, I didn't get a chance to review last week because yeah, we saw something else. So yeah, but this week, yeah, like last week, I probably would have scored last week about a 6, but this week, be in line exactly. I was definitely an 8 because it seemed like uh, uh, every single minute and every single angle, no matter where you look, uh, uh, different things were being thrown at you, and like chances and difficulties, and also it seems that with Andor, uh, he's like very unlucky, but then again, with the unluckiness, uh, with the bad luck that he's gotten, he's also gotten the equal amount of good luck because he's like still going, like finding things left, right, and center. And this episode, when um, who's the old guy that had to rally the troops?
Kino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really liked it when Andor was finally able to kind of like win him over and rally him to rally the troops. Yeah, that was a pivotal moment.
Yes.
If he couldn't turn and rally the troops, everything would have been lost. Everything. So, like when they were getting when they're raiding the treasury, there was a pivotal turn there, and there was pivotal turn right here. Yeah, but I'm very interested to see what happens the next episode with him. Now that he has realised, hey, we're on a big floating pontoon and I can't swim and I really don't want to jump off the prison which I've been on for X amount of years.
Yeah. So what is eight from you? Yeah.
Definite 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely.
Jeff, are you still there?
Jeff,
yes.
Are you gonna give your score, Jeff?
Yeah. I'll give it a. I'll give it a 7. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Sorry?
what
was that?
I'll give it a 7. Yeah.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7. Yeah. It's about.
Okay. I think for me, I think I agree with Steph, Bill. Yeah, about an 8 as well. I think all that tension from all the previous episodes that's been building and building and building, and now it's like, finally released.
Yeah.
And we get a pretty satisfying sort of resolution, right, to the whole prison story, which is good. And I really like the Kino character. I mean, it'll be a shame if this is the last we see of Andy Serkis, character. But yeah, I mean, well cast. Really like.
I love Andy Serkis, so yeah, definitely hope.
Yeah.
Probably not the last time we'll see him.
Yeah. Well, we don't know, but if it is the last time, he has been played a key role in the rebellion. I think the key line for me is when Cassian says, "I'd rather die taking them down than die giving them what they want." So I think that is the heart of what they're fighting for, right? That line.
That's the motivation. Really.
That's what they're doing it for, really.
Yeah, Kine said the same line.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when he was inspiring the troops.
I'd be very, very surprised if if he does in fact drown. I'd actually be.
He probably just stayed on the station.
Sorry?
He probably just stayed on the station. He didn't jump.
He stayed at the station. Will he die?
Stayed there. I don't know where. He probably would have hidden somewhere.
And
gone into hiding somewhere. I mean, it's pretty big. Like you can.
That's why there's always all these theories and rumors of what he'll become.
Okay.
If he stays on the station,
hide out in there somewhere. It's just quite big.
If he stays on the station, he'll face death anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, he better just jump.
Just die, rather than giving them what they want. Just die.
It's basically death, or
unless he completely takes over the station.
Well, okay, but this station is basically stocked and run from the outside.
So Jono score.
Yep.
Overall solid episode. Again, through the beginning of the episode, it does seem like all of his friends still do not know where they are. Which is an absolute silly point. The Imperials caught the person that they needed, but they did not know that he was already in prison.
Yeah.
That's just a bit crazy, but we also see how disorganized the Imperials are in the station, especially at their weakest points. Like once the jailbreak happened, some Imperials went to fight where they got shot down really quickly, and the others just went to hide. There was practically no contest for, as they said, 5,000 prisoners. To like such few guards.
It looked like there were like 12 guards.
Yeah, I think about 12 guys that we see on screen that actually die or get shot. The rest are hiding in a room.
The rest just was just like, you know what, there's 5,000 of them. We're not gonna survive this. Let's just go and hide.
Yeah, so it's practically so no contest.
Yeah, it was so funny that that guard was like, be quiet. He was telling others to just trying to make a noise.
Yeah, it actually does show that the Imperials were scared, so it's kind of showing like both sides. So it's not just the rebellion is just completely winning the entire time.
You remember that
we're not doing like fear tactics, so the Imperials were using all these fear tactics to keep them in their cell zone, control them.
Yeah.
But once it gets turned on them, the Imperials were scared because there were way too many of them.
Yeah, remember that Andor was warning that if we're going to do it, we have to do it immediately. Otherwise,
the window, yeah.
Yeah, the window of opportunity anyway, because they were at the lowest amount of guards at that particular point.
Yeah.
So they planned it quite well, and Kino finally got into it and played a key role. And to see like Luthen like losing his cool with they don't know that guy's name who was on the left.
Lonnie.
Yeah. It's hard to know all of these names. But to see him like lose his cool, like how much he sacrificed, how much he's lost for the rebellion. That was just like good speech as well.
Yes.
So we kind of got like 2 good speeches on the show.
Yeah.
And for a shorter episode, for about like 38 minutes or so.
So what score are you giving it, Jono?
I'd give it a solid 7.5.
Okay. All right.
5.5, eh?
7.5, yeah.
7.5.
Actually, IGN, this one is a 9, so a standout ending to its prison chapter. But the interesting thing is that the main crime is that more people are not watching. Now, this is the other point, right? Because Andor has been critically acclaimed, but it's not a lot of people actually watching it. I think it's because of the generous slow pace.
It's probably the slow pace. That's
Yeah,
the
the really slow burn.
But it's not because the story isn't good, because it is.
Story is okay.
The story is okay and good, but it's too much, and it's more geared for adults as well. Kids won't understand all the politicalness.
That's why it's so critically
acclaimed. It's just a little too stretched out, I think. With the pacing.
Plus, if you're considering of like 3 slow episodes, each episode being 40 minutes, that's like 2 hours of hardly anything happening.
Yeah,
the slow burn
much
is
slower paced Star Wars show than say Mandalorian or Obi-Wan. So
yeah,
that's one of the reasons.
To have like 3 episodes, that's a really, really, really slow burn. It's like practically watching, like Black Panther, 2 hours 40 minutes.
Did the score in Rotten Tomatoes get squished again?
No, this has generally been.
I don't think it's being flooded by like
this has generally been really good, I think. So its Rotten Tomato score is 92%.
Oh
yeah.
That's about that's okay. Like the range.
I mean, even the audience is still good, right? But it's just that there's not a lot of people tuning in. That's all.
Yeah, because of its really, really slow burn.
But yeah, I mean, it does when it does pick up the pace, and it and you have an episode like this, it shows how good it really is. I think.
Yeah, and I guess you need that build up for an episode like this to work. Otherwise, you need that sort of build. Times.
But did it really need that much of a build up?
Well, I don't know.
Because that was 2 hours of practically planning.
They're really getting into the details.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for Andor.
Yeah.
Should move to the other one.
Yes. So Tales of the Jedi, a very interesting episode as well.
With who is it? Mace Windu and
Dooku.
So Dooku comes back in here, and it kind of follows a similar pattern from the previous, like a similar theme to the previous episode. This idea of they can see that the Senate, the senators aren't really doing the right thing by the people that they are supposed to represent. That they've been, become greedy. They've been, draining, certain countries dry in order to amass wealth for themselves. And what's really interesting is the relationship between the Jedi and the Senate, and that to the people of those planets, the Jedi seem to be on their side, the side of the Senate, rather than the people, and that's been the perception. And even Count Dooku was surprised that that's how they are viewed by people, the rebels on the planet, because I don't think he was aware of that previously, even with the previous episode where they were there to rescue like a senator's son. He was unaware sometimes, like sometimes the Jedi go to somewhere and they don't realize, oh, this is what the reality is,
Yeah, I think that's the problem in any case, that they're not given all the information and they just go there like with some information, but kind of blind to like other information that's given. Or like or like just kept from them.
Yeah.
It
And
happens. It happens all the time. Like even now, it's like a lot of things are classified, so they go in half blind.
They're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Like
your
how
job
do
is
they know the truth? It's
Yeah.
the truth stuff are like practically classified or kept away from them. They don't really know themselves.
Yeah.
Which is why the Jedi are not part. As they said, the Jedi were the Senate's lapdogs. They are not. It's from the council.
Yes, they take instructions not from the Senate, but from their own council. But it seems to me that the council is quite selective in what information they're being the Jedi that are being sent out to do stuff is not fully informed of what the full situation is.
Well, it does seem like the Senate is not giving all the information to the council. So the council is sending out their own people without all of the correct information or all the knowledge.
Well,
So
the Jedi
I kind of doubt that the Jedi Council knew all this information either. Because the Senate's keeping it from them.
Yeah.
And
Jedi
because
is
the Senate
nothing
is
more
keeping
than-
it from them is how Palpatine rose to power.
Yeah.
Like the Jedi could only monitor the Senate. They couldn't really control it.
Some people would say the Jedi are nothing more than lapdogs of the Senate. That's all they are.
That's what they're being accused of, because but the reality is they were never given any real proper information anyway.
Yeah. So So practically in the previous episode with Qui-Gon and Dooku, they were sent in with not much information until they got the information from the Sun and the captors.
That's right. So
and this one,
they think they're here to rescue. They're there to rescue, a hostage. That's it. It's a hostage situation.
That was practically it. So
that's it. It's like if you're
the council didn't know.
Yeah, that's like if you're cops and they basically said, "Oh, there's been a kidnapping. There's a hostage situation. Go in and rescue the hostage," and that's all you're given. That's the brief. And the same thing has happened here. You're there to retrieve, the body of a Jedi who's been killed, and it's made to look like an accident, but it's not.
Yeah,
it was actually murder.
It reminds me of a lot of the other like drama type shows where this kind of thing happens. Where the police don't know the full information, but it seems like they're protecting like the rich and powerful, even though the police aren't corrupt, but the politicians behind it were.
Police are always corrupt.
And the Jedi Force was, at the time, it just, they weren't necessarily aware of everything that was going on with the Senate and what the senators were up to.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this whole story. It's like they always seem to be unaware every time. They go in like half blind.
Yeah.
Tonight's episode reminded me very much of the United Kingdom colonialism in the basically the early and late 1700s, and also when colonizing both India and Australia and New Zealand. They're basically, supposedly visiting the country goodwill, but again, the baddies were there, and basically raping the country of resources, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what happened on this particular episode on this planet,
exactly.
Texas. That the senator who was supposed to represent them has instead been essentially exploiting the country's resources, gaining
land,
gaining wealth for himself, but draining the country of its resources and impoverishing the people there. So
I think Dooku, though, that he did seem to be seemed like he was kind of having second thoughts at one point.
Yeah, but effectively it does sow the seeds of him turning to the dark side.
Yeah.
Because even though it does seem like it might be right, the path that he's taking is wrong.
Yeah, like he does sympathize obviously with what was happening with the people there. He can sort of understand what happened better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he also, the way that he, conducts himself in these missions, like in the previous episode, he was prepared to resort to violence, basically to achieve his own ends. So there's that, there's already that dark side kind of emerging from him, because, that's not Qui-Gon's way, that's not Mace Windu's way. Mace Windu is like a stickler for the rules, and Qui-Gon is more compassionate. And so there is that, you can sort of see that dark side emerging already in Count Dooku. Yeah.
But Mace Windu, if you know his character, he also had a bit of a dark side as well. But I guess we haven't seen that yet, or
not in this episode in particular. We just see him as being more of a by the book Jedi.
Yeah, he's by the book, but he does everything he can to do that. Even like using parts of the dark side.
Yeah. But so
but this voice of Mace Windu was definitely not Sam Jackson.
Oh no, it sounds nothing like Sam Jackson. Yeah. But that's, I don't know, it's the young version of Mace Windu, so I guess you can sort of.
But as well, it wasn't voiced by Sam Jackson either.
Yeah.
He was too busy with Secret Invasion.
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting that you can sort of see why Count Dooku is sort of beginning to lose a bit of faith in the council. You can see like the seeds of doubt, and why am I doing this? Why am I, what's my real, am I really doing any good as a Jedi kind of thing?
Who are they really representing?
Yeah, who are we really representing? Is it true that are we the Senate's lapdogs? Like he's beginning to have doubts about.
So his beliefs were justified and sound, even though
it was kind of, but as well, they also did a bit of an arc for Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Because even Ahsoka turned away from the Jedi Council, but in the end, she became kind of a nomad. She wasn't a Sith nor a Jedi. So her key phrase after the whole Clone Wars was, even though she's fighting for the light, she is no Jedi.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So maybe being full Jedi isn't the correct path, because it's too much of an extreme on both ways. Too much of the light side. You're like blinded by all of these rules and regulations and all that.
You can be a little too.
Full dark side is like completely to the other end.
All right. I think we talked enough. We can do our scores.
Yeah. So the scores for this, I really like this. I would give it 7.5 for this particular Tales of Jedi. Interesting episode. You learn a little bit more about the relationship between Senate and the Jedi, and then the perception of the Senate and the Jedi by people on various planets who've basically been exploited and taken advantage of by their own senators. And that it's such a contrast, because you look at, say, Obi-Wan, right, and the way that the Jedi are perceived by some of the people once the Empire has already sort of gained power. The Jedi are seen as the one who is going to rescue them from the Empire. Whereas in this period of time, before the Empire emerged, before the Sith sort of came back, and there's that perception that the Jedi aren't great. Basically, there's distrust between the people on those planets of both the Senate and the Jedi. Very interesting how that's turned, much later on. Once the Empire gained power, once Palpatine came into power.
Okay. 7.5. Bill.
Bill, what do you think? You've gone really dark there. The light's been turned off. It's happened.
Obviously.
I give it 7. I went back and watched last week. I'll also give last week probably a 7. Yeah, seem to have remained consistent. Maybe a little better this week, but yeah, I may give it a better score if what do you call it? If it was like had better graphics. I noticed that the graphics weren't very poor, weren't very good. Did anyone else notice that?
Well, it's comic style, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter of the graphics.
I mean, see, things like Thor and other comics that we've been watching, the renderings have been really good. But this one, it just seemed very grainy and stuff to me. So I'll give it a 7.
Okay. All right.
Oh, Jeff is back.
Jeff, what did you think of Tales? This episode of Tales of Jedi?
Yeah. Jeff,
are you still there?
Calling all Jeffs.
Marcus?
Okay.
Marcus, you go instead.
Yeah, I think 7 sounds right to me. This one. Just getting, good to get some insight into Dooku.
Yeah.
And how, because even though he eventually turns to the dark side, right? Like some of his beliefs, you can sort of understand where he's coming from. Yeah. So, which is good. Like it's not one dimensional, right? So you can sort of see all the steps, I guess, thought process behind what he does. So I think these tales are good at that sort of thing because they focus on one character at a time and give you more of an insight into these characters. Yeah, 7.
And you can sort of understand the origins of his disillusionment with the Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting episode. Yeah, for sure.
Jono.
I actually enjoyed this one because even though it's short, it actually told quite an interesting story. If we could talk about like all of the hidden agendas here and there. And considering that you could tell a lot more of a story through animation than live action, I do always, as I keep saying, prefer animated movies over some live action ones. Like I'm a complete Ghibli fan. But considering Ghibli, a 3-minute Grogu short, which apparently is a Star Wars Ghibli collaboration, comes out tomorrow.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
That's cool. So where is that streaming though? Like, is that Disney as well or not?
Yeah, it would be on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's meant to be released the 12th of November at 5 p.m., but that's the US time.
Yes, time. So that'll be, well, today, I guess. Now that we're past midnight.
What's
Yeah.
So we'll get it sometime today.
It'll be about Baby Yoda.
Oh,
Yeah.
how cute.
Yeah, it's like Baby Yoda and Grogu and the Dust Bunnies.
Star Wars and
wow.
Studio Ghibli. Yeah, I think it's an appropriate character to focus on.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. But
Okay,
since
guys.
it's Ghibli, it's gonna be completely hand-drawn.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I love their artwork for sure.
Yeah.
to be able to
Me
find
too.
it.
So we'll probably watch that along with Tales of the Jedi and Andor next week.
Okay. Yeah, definitely want to see that for sure.
Since it's three
Right,
minutes, we could go
Only 3
past it.
minutes, you know.
And I'll
Yeah.
give this episode a 7.
No, we're all giving it 7s.
I
Okay.
gave it a little bit higher, 7.5.
Oh, 7.5. Yeah. Okay.
But the average is definitely like around 7. So yeah.
Okay. Good. I think Jeff is gone. That's all right.
Yeah.
So 7. Okay.
What do the critics give it?
Oh, they don't give like one individual one, so they give for all 6 overall.
Oh, does IGN have a collective score?
Yeah, I think it's about like 8.
They probably
something.
have all
Yeah.
collective scores because all of the episodes were released in one go,
At the
but
same
we
time.
are just watching it one by one.
Yeah, it's just us watching.
They do have a ranking though of which episode they think is the best, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we'll probably do that at the end once we've gotten to our last one.
All right, I think I'll stop this.